Assignment 11. So what is Hamlet all about? Before summarizing the main events of the play, I believe it is important to develop a basic understanding and background of the main characters. Please follow along as I outline the relationships, connections, and key facts about each of the following characters. Hamlet, the Prince of Denmark, son of dead King Hamlet, Queen Gertrude, and nephew of Claudius. Hamlet is the main character of the play. Hamlet became bitter and disgusted towards his mother and uncle after hearing the news of his uncle's schemes and his mother's sexuality. Hamlet's character is very hesitant and indecisive, but at times his actions represent himself as mad. Gertrude, the Queen of Denmark, Hamlet's mother, married to Claudius. She's a loving mother to Hamlet, but is also a shallow and weak individual who seeks affection and high status. Claudius, the King of Denmark, Hamlet's uncle, brother and murderer of King Hamlet, husband of Gertrude, as well as the antagonist of the play. Claudius is driven by lust for power, demonstrated by his actions of pouring poison in his other brother's ear and killing him to be king. Ghost. The ghost appears to be the late King Hamlet, who calls upon Hamlet to seek revenge on the murderer, Claudius. Hamlet resists seeking revenge as he fears the ghost of his father could be a devil in disguise trying to tempt him into a sinful act of murder. Polonius, the chief advisor to Claudius's court and a master of scheming. Polonius is the father of Laertes and Ophelia, which he worries his children's behavior will embarrass him. Laertes, Polonius' son and brother to Ophelia. Laertes is recognized as a good man until he later helps plot the death of Hamlet. Ophelia, daughter of Polonius, sister of Laertes, and a beautiful young lady whom Hamlet fell in love with. Ophelia obeys her father and brother, who don't agree with her being with Hamlet. She is obedient to male commands, and later spies on Hamlet in support of Polonius' scheme. Horatio. Horatio is the commoner of Denmark, as well as Hamlet's closest friend. Throughout the play, Horatio is loyal and helpful towards Hamlet. After Hamlet's death, he remains alive to tell Hamlet's story. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are both former classmates of Hamlet, who spy on Hamlet on behalf of Claudius and Gertrude to discover the cause of his strange behavior, ultimately betraying their friend. Now that we have developed a basic understanding of the characters in Hamlet, it is time to summarize the events throughout the play. The story of Hamlet takes place in Denmark, in and around the royal palace, in the late 15th century. Hamlet is the Prince of Denmark and son of the deceased King Hamlet. One night, his servants see a ghost that looks like his father. The ghost reveals himself to Hamlet as his father and tells Hamlet that his uncle, Claudius, murdered him. The ghost, his father, asks Hamlet to avenge him. Meanwhile, one of Claudius's advisors, Polonius, has a daughter named Ophelia that Hamlet is courting. She mentions that Hamlet is acting strange, and they become suspicious and try to get Hamlet's friends to spy on him. All this time, Hamlet is questioning whether the ghost was telling the truth or even real. When actors arrive, he has put them on a skit portraying his father's death and watches Claudius to see his reaction. He calls his plan the mousetrap. When the actual murder scene happens, Claudius gets upset and leaves, and Hamlet decides that he must be guilty. His mother, Queen Gertrude, demands an explanation that they get in a fight. Polonius, who suspects Hamlet has gone mad, sees him fighting and assumes he's about to kill Gertrude and starts yelling for help. Hamlet assumes it's Claudius and stabs Polonius through the curtain and doesn't appear upset when he realizes what he has done. The ghost warns him to be cautious, but to make sure to kill Claudius. Gertrude doesn't see the ghost and also assumes Hamlet has gone mad. Claudius sends Hamlet away in a plot to kill him, and in the meantime Laertes, Polonius' son, returns to Denmark to find his father dead and sister going insane. Claudius proposes a fencing match between Laertes and Hamlet, and Laertes promises to poison the tip of his sword. Claudius vows to give Hamlet a poison wine if Laertes fails. Queen Gertrude enters and reports Ophelia is drowned. As she is being buried, two gravediggers argue about whether it is suicide or not. Hamlet enters and professes his sadness over Ophelia's death, and him and Laertes fight. Gertrude and Claudius break up the fight. Later, Laertes and Hamlet have their duel. While the action is taking place, Gertrude toasts Hamlet and accidentally drinks the poisoned wine meant for Hamlet. Laertes stabs Hamlet with a poisoned sword, and Hamlet, in return, uses Laertes' sword against him. Gertrude dies, and Laertes and Hamlet reconcile, with Laertes revealing Claudius' plot to murder Hamlet. Hamlet stabs Claudius with the poisoned sword and forces him to drink poisoned wine. He names a Norwegian prince next ruler of Denmark, and his best friend Horatio tries to drink the wine to kill himself. Hamlet stops him so that he can tell the story of what happened. When the prince arrives, he sees Claudius, Gertrude, Hamlet, and Laertes dead. Horatio tells the tale. When reading Hamlet, students are able to notice a key message present throughout the play: appearance versus reality. Things in life are not always as they appear. Looks can be deceiving. In Hamlet, there is a clear vision between appearance and reality, which is achieved through actions of the main characters. Hamlet, Claudius, and Polonius are all characters in Shakespeare's play who much more than they appear to be those around them. Hamlet appears to be a sane, loving man, but truly on the inside, he's a madman who regularly contemplates suicide due to the death of his father and the new state of Denmark under control of Claudius. Claudius protects a certain image to his kingdom, and in their eyes, he is king. In real life, Claudius is a manipulative liar and murderer. Polonius is a master schemer and worries too much, and does not know what is good for his own good. All these differences in characters, appearances versus reality, ultimately leads to their own demise. From this, as a reader, I am able to learn how it is important not to judge a book by its cover, and also make sure you truly know the person rather than just simply accept how they appear. Some people have two sides of themselves, good and evil. The theme of a book is a universal message that is apparent through the entire story. Throughout Hamlet, there are many themes which are obvious, such as revenge, death. I have chosen to focus on a theme which is prevalent throughout the whole story, but is a theme which is not as commonly analyzed. Theme of the importance of the family relationships. Hamlet examines several family relationships personally and throughout other characters as well. For example, Hamlet and King Hamlet, Hamlet and his mother Gertrude, as well as the relationship between Ophelia, Polonius, and Laertes. In order to maintain a strong, healthy connection, members must display loyalty and trust between one another. When whose characteristics are missing, the relationship becomes dysfunctional and the bond begins to be weak. Throughout the play, different family relationships were put to the test. Hamlet agreed to seek revenge for his father's death, but once Hamlet began questioning if the ghost was truly his father, and he had become hesitant to fulfill his deed. Hamlet and his mother's relationship began to fall apart after her hasty marriage to Claudius, her former brother-in-law and murderer of her husband. When Gertrude becomes blinded by everything taking place, Hamlet loses the drive to share a connection with his mother. On the other hand, the relationship between Ophelia and her two male figures, Polonius and Laertes, is a very obedient relationship. The two males do not approve of the relationship between Hamlet and Ophelia, and they announce their worries to Ophelia, and she follows their word. Family relationships are a main theme throughout Hamlet, and it is because of these family relationships that there is an added drama and tension between the main characters. Family is an important aspect throughout the play, and as it outlines what an obedient and dysfunctional relationship looks like.